Okay viewers, I've actually already cleaned up these connections here, brushed this laminations with a wire brush. The bolt actually had water on it, and it's actually just dripped on here, and it's actually just rust and moisture. Had lots of moisture in here, so it's not too bad. It came out pretty good. I don't have any kill rust paint to clean that up, and I was gonna put some kill rust paint in there to protect it, but I don't have any in stock. So now the magnets on the brake magnets have actually come up nice and clean. What I did, I held it like that to stop the wheel from turning, and blasted compressed air through these little gaps here, and that actually cleaned these magnets right up. So yeah, those screws I've actually run over with a wire brush, polished these screws up, made sure everything was clean. I cleaned all these connections here up with a wire brush, brushed these bolts down because they were just badly rusted and they were very hard to undo. Very hard to undo, so I got them all brushed in and polished. Cleaned all this up. This is all corroded. It's just uses die cast aluminium or some sort of alloy. The wheel moves pretty freely. You see a tiny bit of scratch mark where some stuff's gotten up, the rust has gotten onto it and locked it up. So now what I'm going to do, I'm moving the wheel at first, because I can get my hand in there and put like a little, this handkerchief, I can just put it around that and just carefully polish it all the way around. Turns out I didn't need to remove this wheel to clean out those magnets. Compressed air did a bloody good job. But yeah, the bearings freed up, there's nothing caught in the bearings, the bolts are all clean. I've cleaned these screws here up. Just gonna go through the process of polishing up this disc, because it has got some fingerprints on it from the factory. Just like so, like that, finger around it, and be very careful, just rotate the disc to clean it. So I'll do that and we'll see how she looks. I haven't got the tripod up here, so I'll have to do this off camera. Okay viewers, I just went over this load disc with a handkerchief and polished it as best I could. Most of that stuff, the fingerprints are just all gotten corroded from the moisture that was in this damn thing from the tropics. But yeah, the scratch isn't actually as bad as I thought on that wheel, which is a good thing. I've actually yeah, done that, cleaned it good, and hit it again with compressed air to further clean out in these magnets. Those brake magnets are actually spotless now, so the wheel turns pretty freely. It springs up and down alright. So I'm going to measure the resistance of this voltage coil. So if it's between 2 kilo ohms and 10 kilo ohms, it should be fine. I did measure it this morning and it measured 2.9, so let's see how it measures now. Well, I've got a bad lead in my multimeter, so it's going to be hard for me to get a good steady reading. This is only just a crappy Chinese multimeter. I've actually repaired it a couple of times here. So if I can get it to hold, I should get a reading, hopefully. Try and get the camera to see that. The sun's right in the way, but if I stand in front of the sun, I should be able to see that. There you go. 1.2 ohms. Must have a bad connection somewhere. 15.3 kilo ohms. Oh, range. Just hold that in there for a second. .3 kilo ohms. Can't get a good connection here. 3.01 kilo ohms. There we go. It's a bit bloody, it's a bit intermittent, this meter connection, but yeah. I've polished up these before. I didn't do this get this on camera, but what I did, set that carefully. A little bit of fine grit sandpaper on the end of my finger. Like that. Just carefully just smudged around those brass connections because they were pretty messed up from moisture. And I ran through this case after I did that, ran through it all with a hanky, picked up some nasty stuff, I'm going to try using some anti-seize on these bolts. Yeah, just to stop these bolts from binding up, because they're just a nightmare. I've cleaned up this bottom nut here, which goes through here. You can see the corrosion on that. It's a bit hard to see on camera, but it's not as bad as I thought. I'll just clean that damper up. Most of that will just tap off. It hasn't gone brittle or anything, so that's good. It's time to I'll go get my anti-seize stuff out. We'll put those bolts back in, reconnect the meter up, and we'll do a quick clean and wire it up, see if it works. It was sold as a non-functioning unit, but either because they thought it was the voltage coil might have been bad, or that the reel was locked up by rust. It did turn, but not easy enough for the to overcome its own momentum when it would have been normally working. So now that these magnets are freed up, it should turn. It does turn pretty freely now, so hopefully this meter should work. So yeah, that's just how to wire it up. You got your line goes in, active goes in there, comes out to your power point, neutral comes back in, and another one comes out to your supply. That's what it says here. It's only got one wire here. Normally you probably have another one here, but it doesn't have that. Would have had live, neutral for the input, neutral out to load, live out to load. This has only got one neutral, so based on this, I think it's got, just have your line in, line out to your load through your power point, back through here and back to neutral. So that's what this little diagram here has anyway. So let's get my anti-seize out and get these bolts cleaned up. Okay, you also just realised there's a separate connection here. It's separate from this main live input. This must be a neutral to our voltage coil. So we've got live in, neutral from the supply, and load out to our accessories or the appliance, the house. So yeah, because normally I just had 3 here. It's got this other little connection which goes to the voltage coil. So I just double check these, make sure these aren't connected internally in circuit before I go any further. So I've checked by the voltage coil, measured alright. According to what this said, it read 3.2 kilo ohms. That was in between a 2 and 10 kilo ohm range. So it's a bit intermittent, as I said, a pretty bad lead. So hopefully that was a true reading, I hope. And anyway, I've done that. Polish up these screws, give it a good blow over. Now I'm going to go over these bolts here with some stop C's. This is meant for stainless steel bolts, but this contains mineral oil and nickel for stainless steel. And there's other types you can get for other different types of metals. It just has a, say for brass or something, have like the brass equivalent to like a reactant or something that stops the threads from binding, like two of the same metals. So I'm going to use this, instead of just putting oil on there, I'm going to use this on the bolts. Because it also protects from the rust as well, so this stuff's hazardous stuff, so I've got to be careful with this. Don't need to put much at all on, I just have to get the smallest dab as I can. Just dab a tiny bit here. That should be enough. Now it'll work its way around in the threads. That's about as much as you need. Put it in, screw it in. Now these are pretty odd size, so I don't know what size exactly these bolts are. This is a 5/16 inch, that is. It's not quite big enough to fit this nut, so I don't know. Try our next size up I got here, which is a 11/32 inch. And that's a little bit too big, so it's a difficult size, these bolts. I have brushed them as best as I could with this little wire brush. This is just meant for cleaning copper when you're brazing, so it's good enough for this, and it's, yeah, I've cleaned it up as best as I could. I don't have any paint on kill rust, otherwise I would have had a little thing of kill rust here. I'd like a nail polish brush and brushed over the tops of those bolts and did the laminations of that voltage coil, but I don't have any, in stock, so I'm going to have to just go by just by polishing the rust off. So I'll do this off camera, put these bolts back in, give it a quick make sure the test is on as I said. We'll just put it back together after I first polish these up, because there's a bit of corrosion on there too, so yeah. Okay viewers, it's all back together. Clean up the inside of the front glass with just a hanky. Had some light dust on the inside, it came up pretty well clean. Got some markings on the outside now. It's got, yeah, you can see the corrosion on those brackets that hold the glass on. The cork seals all intact, that's good. So now I'm going to see what the hell this is. So that must be just some other optional extra or something. Said on diode. So it beeps when I go to short those out. So if I short these out, I'll test this little connection here I was talking about. Okay, that's right into the live, so there you go. That's wired into together with that, so it's actually got neutral shares off here. Okay, now that I've done that, check the bolts are all tight. These are tight. It's just ex-Brisbane City Council boards, electrical board stock, so put this on the right way. Try and find where the dust has been sitting. There. Went this way. That's exactly where it was, because the dust is on the top, so I'll sit this on. This is a tricky part, getting these lined up. I'll put this all back together and tighten these screws up, and we'll see if she works. Okay viewers, for those of you out there never work, or other viewers who are looking into collecting meters, and you're working with Bakelite and you're doing up bolts, do them together in sequence. That one, and work your way. Don't do one all the way up, because it will put the case off center and you can crack it. It is brittle, this stuff, so it's got this nice little texture to it. Looks pretty cool. It's like a grainy texture, so I'm gonna I've done this tight too, so now that I've done those bolts tight, you can see I've got it perfectly centered and perfectly in place. There's a gap there, you can't even see it anymore, it's closed tightly. Now it's together, I'm gonna just get my wiring cords out and start wiring her up. I'll give it a good test, see if she works. That's exactly where the wheel was, haven't budged the reading, so let's get this thing wired up and see if it works. Okay viewers, I've got it pretty sure that's a diagram there. You got your line goes in, comes out to your house or your load, and your neutral goes in here. That's what it says on this little diagram here. So I'm going to get the variac in this to be extra sure, and I've just got this old 1961 double pole HPM power point. I'm going to put a load in that as a test. This heater will be fine, I'm going to use that, but I'm going to get the variac to be, just as an extra safety precaution. I'll bolt this back on, got the earth hooked up, I'll just sit that there, I'll bolt that back on, and I'll get my variac out just to be extra, just as extra cautious. It's always good to use a variac with something like this, so you know, if you're not sure, you just turn it up very slowly. Get this done up. And there's my anti-tamper seals. I'll put those back on later on, but first I'll set this up and test it with a variac, so let's go get the variac and we'll get testing. Okay viewers, variac's on 0. Turning up the voltage now. 140 volts, so I turn the heater on, power point's on, heater's coming on, and the meter's starting to move. The meter's working. Variac's on 240 and the meter's moving. 240 volts. And it's running a 10 amp heater. Beautiful. She's working beautifully, viewers. 10 amps. Test load. Now I'm gonna get my digital watt meter I bought off eBay and just do a test, accuracy test. This is working beautifully. The seller said it was destroyed by the Gap storm in Brisbane, and this was sold as stuffed, basically, not functional, which is why I got it so cheap for 99 cents. That's best 99 cents I've ever spent, and she's working beautifully now. Alright, turn the variac down. Run with no variac. We'll see how she runs. So I disconnect this and just run it normally. That makes me very happy. The meter's working smoothly. There's no scratching or dinging or anything like that. Like there's nothing jamming it, so now the wheel is running backwards. Alright, just unplug this and get this straight off here. Give it a good run and see how good it goes. Okay, viewers. Cool, that is good. Now this meter, I must start here and goes around, and that's the starting point. So I've got to get this to calibrate somewhere I can get a good starting point from. So let it run for a bit, and you can see that worm gear, which drives the little gear up there, turns that, which runs the dials. Now if this was a smart meter, this would be stuffed. This is what I love about these old meters. Nothing goes wrong with them. Alright, cool. Let this meter get to a good starting position and I get this set up and I'll just test it. So 1/10 on the digital meter should be 1/10 on this, and it should be spot on in sync with the other meter. And this thing will be accurate. You can see there, it's running quite happily. Alright, before I do any accuracy tests, so I'm going to do just polish it up basically. Give it a good polish. I might give it a good cut and shine with some automotive cut polish stuff I use. I use that stuff for my antique radios and it polishes up Bakelite very nicely. So I'm going to use it on this to get this a good shine. The disc itself has got some muck, like dust and corrosion on it. I couldn't get all that off, but apart from the tarnishing it's got, it's working. That was my main concern. I just didn't know if it was working. And there you go, it's alive. The dial was moving, so it was there, and it's moved the 1 notch. So let that be perfectly spot on there. Now we'll shut it down and we'll get my digital meter out and test it. I'm going to test this on a window air conditioner, but before I do that, I'm going to just shorten these cords and put bigger heavy gauge cord in here for 15 amp loads. 10 to 80 amps, so low accuracy, or for 1 accuracy at low amps, this is perfect. This is more than what I need. 80 amps is perfect. More is better, but I'll shut this down. Heater's off. There you go, viewers. So for now, thanks for watching.